Man is behind bars after being accused in a robbery this morning. And a Moorhead family celebrates the life of a 2-year-old brutally killed last year. Plus, it's the start of a new month and millions of Americans who are behind on their rent could soon be evicted. Valley News Live at 10 starts now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I am Nishay Taylor. Tonight, a 20-year-old Moorhead man is behind bars. He's accused of committing a robbery inside an area apartment complex. That man is identified as Miko Henry. Henry had several felony warrants, including for gun possession. Police say the robbery took place a little after midnight, close to 20th Street and 18th Avenue South in Moorhead. Miko Henry was found close by and was arrested on his outstanding warrant. Henry has yet to be charged for the robbery and the investigation is still ongoing. And a fire early this morning in Wadena took the lives of 2 people. Just before 4 a.m., the Wadena County Sheriff's Office was notified of a house fire in Section 32 of Wadena Township. When emergency crews arrived, they found a juvenile outside the residence with minor burns. Firefighters were able to pull the 2 individuals out of the fire and life-saving measures were performed, but both were pronounced dead on the scene. The juvenile was taken to a local hospital to be treated for their injuries. The names of the victims are being withheld until the family has been notified. And 1 person has died and another was seriously injured in a crash at the North Dakota State Fairgrounds in Minot early this morning. The accident happened shortly after 12:30 a.m. A man and woman from Mandan were riding in an off-road vehicle traveling south through the fairgrounds parking lot when the vehicle swerved and struck head-on into a parked car. The vehicle then overturned, causing both the driver and passenger to be ejected. The man died from his injuries, while the woman sustained serious, non-life-threatening injuries. The crash is still being investigated. And a pedestrian chasing after a dog caused a 2-vehicle crash on Highway 10 in Otter Tail County near Compton Township. The accident occurred this afternoon just before 2:30 p.m. A 34-year-old woman was traveling east on the highway in a pickup truck with 3 juvenile passengers. A pedestrian ran out into the road chasing after a dog, causing the driver to brake suddenly. This resulted in the pickup being rear-ended by another car. The 27-year-old driver of the car was injured and was taken to a local hospital. The driver and passengers of the pickup were not hurt in the accident. Tomorrow begins the trial for a man accused of a quadruple murder that rocked the Mandan community. In April 2019, the co-owner and the 3 employees of RJR Maintenance and Management in Mandan were brutally killed. Those who knew the employees say the group were known as the Coffee Club, as they would arrive early to chat and have coffee. Their suspected killer is Chad Isaac, a Navy veteran and chiropractor. Isaac is charged with 4 counts of murder. He faces life in prison if convicted. The jury selection starts tomorrow, which is expected to take up to 2 days. The trial is slated to last roughly 3 weeks. 21-year-old Hunter Havisto will be in court this week for his preliminary hearing and arraignment. Havisto is accused of committing several armed robberies at area businesses in Fargo, including one at M&H gas station on Main Avenue. He is being charged with 7 felony counts, including robbery and attempted robbery. Havisto also faces 3 misdemeanor theft counts for the cash he allegedly stole from those local businesses. His court appearance is scheduled for this Thursday. And the North Dakota Supreme Court is granting a jury trial to a Wisconsin man found guilty of an infraction after he used public grounds in Bismarck to sell wares for commercial purposes. 40-year-old Eric Smith sold Donald Trump merchandise along Bismarck's Washington Avenue in 2020. Smith says the request for a jury trial is more about his free speech than about where he was selling the merchandise. Prosecutors say the ruling does not change the case, but not now attorneys will present their arguments to a jury instead of a judge. Today, a family celebrated what would have been a local girl's second birthday. Mika Carrillo died last November after court documents say she was brutally beaten and died while in the care of a family friend. Valley News Team's JC Dodd shares how the family is remembering the life of a child who was taken far too soon.
Happy birthday, dear Mika. Happy birthday to you.
A year ago today marked happier times for the family of Mika Carrillo as little Mika celebrated her first birthday and took her first steps here at Gooseberry Park. Born on the same day as her grandmother,
wonderful, beautiful angels brought into his life August 1st, but then went up in heaven on her dad's birthday on November 24th.
Each day is a reminder of the life that was taken far too soon, saying Mika's sister Octavia turns to Mika's urn every night.
And she'll sing Rockabye Baby and then kiss her and says, okay. And then I looked at her and she's up there and she smiled, so I'm going to go to bed now.
Mika's family embraced a much more somber birthday celebration this afternoon, selling Justice for Mika shirts and car decals to raise money to plant a tree in the park in Mika's honor. Her family is saying in their eyes, justice isn't seeing the woman charged with Mika's murder put behind bars for life.
I need Brandy to have the light at the end of the tunnel that my daughter cannot have.
But what is that going to do? That's not going to bring Mika back. That's not going to bring her back.
As they wait for Adeleke to go to trial, they say they remember the lessons Mika taught them.
She's always going to be remembered, no matter how old I get, no matter how old my kids get.
In Moorhead, JC Dodd, Valley News Live.
The family says Adeleke is expected to go on trial next month, where they hope to get the justice Mika deserves. And today, Israel rolled out a third dose of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for people over the age of 60. The Israeli Prime Minister announced the measure on Thursday after a strong recommendation from the government-appointed team of experts on the pandemic to offer older adults a third dose. The experts' advice was based on data suggesting significant waning immunity from infection over time. Meanwhile, the U.S. health officials have said citizens do not need booster shots at this time. And the United States is making progress with COVID-19 vaccinations. As of yesterday, more than 346 million shots have been administered in the U.S., according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Saturday was also the 5th consecutive day of at least 700,000 shots delivered. 20 states have fully vaccinated more than 50% of its population. Those states include Colorado, Hawaii, New Jersey, New York, and Virginia. And as some states continue to have low vaccination rates, health officials are having more concerns about the surge of the Delta variant. Polo Sandoval reports.
New cases of the coronavirus are rising in every state across the nation by at least 10% over the past week. But there are glimmers of hope. Weekly vaccination rates are up 26% from just 3 weeks ago, and 49.5% of the population is fully vaccinated, still far short of where the White House hoped to be by now. And in the South, in places like Alabama and Arkansas, states with poor vaccination progress now seeing the average number of shots double in the last 3 weeks. But the South still has a long way to go.
As bad as things are right now in the South, are about to get worse if for lots of unvaccinated individuals.
New cases in Florida have jumped by more than 50% in the past week. In neighboring Georgia, the new case rate has tripled in the past 2 weeks. And in Louisiana, where they had the most cases per capita last week, daily vaccination rates jumped 111% from 3 weeks ago.
The Delta variant is a game changer. And at this point, it's not whether we vaccinate or mask. We have to do both.
An internal document from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says the Delta variant, which is fueling much of the rise across the country right now, produces similar viral loads in both vaccinated and unvaccinated people who are infected. Vaccinated people may also spread the variant at the same rate as unvaccinated people, but it's critical to note that breakthrough infections among vaccinated people are rare. And as the CDC now pushes for vaccinated Americans to wear masks indoors in many places across the country, President Biden says more restrictions could be coming.
Should Americans expect more guidelines coming up, more restrictions because of COVID?
In all probability.
And health experts agree, unless many more Americans get vaccinated, things could get much worse.
What we can say is this virus is doing exactly what we predicted it will do. And if we can't get extremely high rates of vaccination, and those rates now need to be higher than they were with the original strain because of the increased infectivity, we're going to see more and more variants, some of which will be worse.
According to the CDC data, less than 0.001% of people fully vaccinated against COVID-19 experienced a breakthrough case resulting in death. Later on Valley News Live at 10, a ban on evictions has expired and millions of Americans could be on the verge of being evicted. But first, summer is up next with a look at your forecast.